Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Real back with another motherfucking review, man. Yo, this is Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 2 review. All right, this one got spicy. This one, hands down, was a 10 out of 10. This episode was spicy. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get this one part of it that I hated, and I know I'm nitpicking, so I'm just going to get it out the way. Just throw it away. The likelihood of a child back in medieval times going into a coma and not receiving any IV, no breathing apparatus, nothing like that, just surviving over a month, very highly unlikely. He would have been big dead, because I'm just sitting there like, so he's been out of it for a month. No drinking, no eating, unless they got some like medieval form of feeding and hydrating the body while it's in the coma. I didn't see it. I didn't. But we're just gonna assume that they have those type of skills back there, and they figured it out. They know how to save coma patients. I doubt it, but that was the only thing I was just looking like on my second go around. Like, ain't no way this boy would survive that shit. Like he would have been dead. Okay, but anyway. This one was good because we see more of Cersei. She asserts herself. We get to dislike her more. We get less of Varys, which is good because we hate the brother. We hate him. We learn a lot about Lady Stark, for sure. And then we see tensions between Ned and his boy, Robert Baratheon, get tense. You know, it's just a nasty situation. We see the love between Arya and Jon Snow. We see all these different relationships that are going to flourish and mean something. Like, these things are happening. Jon Snow and Tyrion together. Like, these are things that are going to be meaningful, and we can see it happening right there. The first one I'd like to go do, though, let's go a little small. Go to my baby Daenerys. Oh, she's just fine. She is just top-notch Khaleesi. Anyway. We see her still timid and not want to be a part of this lifestyle. But in the same breath, we see her infatuated with these dragons. And they're like her blanket. Like, it's a snuggle blanket. Like, anytime she's feeling distraught or lost or something like that, she's like, oh, my eggs are right there. So I like those. You know what I'm saying? She feels a kindred spirit to these eggs. And then we see her want to take more control of her life this episode. We seen how it was in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Dothraki style. Real wild, real boorish. How you would assume, you know, Dothraki's to give it up. That's how he gave it up. She didn't seem to be a fan. You feel bad. Like, this is, I know they're married, but this just ain't, it's not sitting right with me. It doesn't feel right. But Daenerys quickly goes, you know what? I'm not going to have a lifetime of this shit. She made it into her mind like, I don't want to be here, didn't want anything to do with this, but I'm here. And you know what? I'm in. Fuck it. If making lemonade out of lemons was a person, it was Daenerys this episode. So right here we see her relationship with the slaves, quote unquote slaves. You know what I'm saying? That we see that means something later on. Like, she treats everybody with respect. And she's not afraid to be like ignorant to things. Like, she don't know shit. She knows the Targaryens are correlated with dragons, but she doesn't know the history. She wants to know more. She's sucking up information. She's just like a child. Like, she hasn't been outside of Pentos, right? Did I say it right this time? I call that shit penne, pesta, pasta. I call this shit every Italian dish you could think of, except for the name of the town of Pinto. So she been locked down for a while. So it's just, everything is new to her, moving fast. But she's looking like adapt or die. So we see her gaining information, hanging out with the girls as they fix up, her slave girls. And one piques her interest. So she reaches out to her. She's like, oh, this girl got some, if she could get a man to talk about dragons and shit like that, she must be putting it on a nigga. Let me holler at her. Everybody else leave. I thought she was going to talk more about dragons. I'm not going to lie. I thought she wanted to know more of the history, but it turns out she just needed to know, how can I bend Drogo to my will? How can I put it on him? I want to switch this thing up. And she took like a sex class. Very progressive back then. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Teach me. Shows that she applies it, and right there, Drogo fell in love. I mean, we haven't seen much of Dothraki love. I thought it would come to the point of like cutting a person's heart out and handing it to him. That tribe seems like that would be the highest form of affection you could get. But no, Drogo looked like he just fell. And I said, boom, at that moment when she said, not this way, I'm taking control, jumped up there and used all her new moves on him. I was like, oh, she got him. She got him. He's hooked. The way he looked at her in her eyes, and yeah. So now we see that, and so we're very happy to see that. Khaleesi is like, I'm a queen, that's right. It might be of the horse people, but fuck it. It was better than what I was when I dipped. When I was with my brother. At least I got a little bit of pull here, and we see that confidence building in her, and that's gonna flourish later. So salute to Daenerys for that one. That was a very good developmental scene, and it feeds Baratheon's fear. Like, let's go to that. Let's go to the good interaction between Robert and Ned Stark. So they hanging around this boy's wood, eating delicious dates and probably some wild boar or something. And they chopping it up of things to be expected, because now he's the hand of the king, and it's time for them to go back and rule together. And you see them reminiscing about the good times, and we saw that interaction between Jon and Ned. We'll go into Jon after this, but the biggest take from that conversation between Robert Baratheon and Ned was his fucking disgust for Daenerys. He gets a note that says, bro, she just got married to a Dothraki warlord. They say he got over 100K in men and horses. I know what time it is. But Ned the Noble, you know what I'm saying, just gave him that moniker. Ned the Noble was like, man, she's a child, bro, chill. And what you learn is Robert hates the Targaryens. He hated Daenerys' father, the once king. The Targaryens is the reason that Ned's sister is dead, that we know of. Robert hates him for taking the love of his life away. He hates every Targaryen. And I find it curious that Ned was on the defense of her. And the million times I've watched it, I never really paid attention to how he was so, like, it's okay. I should be the one super pissed, but it's not that big a deal. Let Daenerys live. And I'm like, why does the king have so much fervor for her, for the Targaryens, and he just so, come on, man, let it go. She all right. They don't cross the sea, and if they do, then we'll fucking deal with them then. He's just very dismissive of them, and that should have been a sign. And it just kind of get brushed over because he says something like she's a child, and he's like, yeah, but she will have kids, and who knows. See, Robert is thinking down the line. He don't see any immediate threat, but he like to snub it out right now. And though he might be drunk, a drunkard, and though he might be out here whoring, Robert is king for a reason. He's not fucking stupid. He's shown you that. He'll laugh, he'll giggle, he'll do all that, but he's not a dumb king by any means of the word. He knows that the Targaryen's a problem. And what is she doing? Just marrying warlords with large armies? Like, that's a problem. Yeah, that should be on anybody's radar, especially if her father was the king right before me. That seems a little nasty, right? And he's explaining how people in the Seven Kingdoms is looking at him like Serpa, which I don't know what the fuck that means, but the context clues would tell me like that means not deserving of the crown, or a thief of the crown, or holding the place of the real crown, or something to that aspect. I don't know. But I should have grabbed a dictionary, or a thesaurus at the least, and figured out what the fuck Serpa was. But, well, maybe it was that. Yeah, okay. Y'all can handle that for me in the comments. But I thought that conversation was interesting. That was the biggest thing out of that. So we know Robert don't know the true facts, but he is 100% correct. Varys is doing that exact thing. He's ready to go now, and Robert feels it, and he knows a war of some magnitude is coming, and he just is preparing Ned. I thought it was also curious about how Ned didn't want to discuss Jon Snow's mother. He got real angry about that, and Robert chopped it up to it being, oh, that you've done one dishonorable thing in your whole life, and you're too hard on yourself. But anybody that was really watching saw that I don't think it was his honor that was the issue. It was something deeper than that, and we that leaves the people wanting to know more. Like, what really was the deal? Because his wife hates Jon, and that's the next place we going. We learn more about Lady Stark. She is a vicious woman. So apparently Robert went out to go help fight a war with Robert, with the now king, and he was gone for a year, come back with a child. Right? First off, salute Ned for that. If the man had a bastard child with somebody other than his wife, I would think 9.8 out of 10. Any other dude would have just left that kid right there. Like, yeah, this is your problem. Thanks. We did the thing, but I really got a wife back home. I got kids that are actually non-bastards, and this would probably fuck up my entire life, or at least have the most uncomfortable conversation with my wife. So I'd rather not do that. But he took the kid with him. And I thought that was curious, that I never really thought about. Like, why the fuck did he take Jon with him? If this is truly your bastard son and you are ashamed of what you did, why would you bring him home? So that was a question that, should have been lingering. And then here comes Lady Stark. Now, granted, when Jon Snow came in to say his goodbyes to Bran, and damn near was crying, you know what I'm saying, tearing up and just saying his goodbyes, and you just saw Lady Stark looking at him like sadly, like, you're sad, I'm sad, Bran's here. Like, there's an emotion for him, but there's immediate disgust. And Jon just takes it on the chin. He's just like, yeah, I know you hate me. Unfortunately, I love all y'all. So, and it just made me think, like, bro, this is a grown ass man. Well, I guess 17 years ago when she had that conversation with Ned, when she replays what he did, because why would she let that go? And that's what I was saying. One thing about Lady Stark that we do know, sure, she's dangerous. Sure, she knows how to play her position. She's not no slouch. But goddamn, can she hold a grudge? Can you imagine? Right? You didn't ask to be born. You got your father here, a different mother, and this woman has hated you for 17 years of your life. That's deep. She's seen your first footsteps, not excited. Lady Stark is like, oh, is that Jon walking? Oh, big fucking whoop. You know what I'm saying? His first words, mama, like, I'm not your fucking mama. Okay? You're a piece of shit bastard. Like, I'm like, damn, Lady Stark, like, everything, you would think that, okay, you would be mad, like, she would be mad at Ned, maybe for a lifetime, but after 17 years, maybe you grow to love Jon? Maybe you've accepted it and forgiven your husband. You've had several kids after that, so clearly it ain't shooking up nothing in the bed. So I'm just like, wow, Lady Stark holds a fucking grudge. Jon had to come up as the most hated thing walking around that fucking castle, like the manor. Like, that's wild. In cold conditions. Motherfucker gonna mistreat you in the cold? Bitch, send me to King's Landing. That's how I feel about that. That's how you gonna act. Just send me to King's Landing. You don't need take me somewhere warm. I ain't got to be up here getting disrespected by you in the cold. Like, fuck out of here. Like, what's that about? No. But yeah, who can Lady Stark hold a grudge? And we see that she can be unreasonable when it comes to her kids. That might be something to watch out for too. Because there's everybody's left, and there's still Winterfell to run, but she wants to be by Bran's side, respectfully. I mean, that's her son. And then you got what's my man name? Robert. You got Rob Stark coming in talking about, yo, you have a 6-year-old, you got another kid, we kind of need you. You ain't left this room in a lifetime, so could you come out here and maybe mom everybody else? There's not much more you could do here. Just gave her a hard dose of reality, and you can see she can be unreasonable, but she's a mom and she loves hard, and she hates even harder though. So that seems to be what Lady Stark is all about. And then we see that the assassination attempt on Bran. Salute to his direwolf. The direwolves put in work. Actually, that's who gets the that's who gets the MVP of this episode to me. That direwolf. I don't know his name. I don't know the name of Bran's direwolf, but he saved the mom and him, ripping out dude's throat, and then just sat there on the bed like just in case another motherfucker wish they would. So salute to that wolf. The direwolves, 2 episodes in, are making a powerful impact. So I do like to see that. Even though he looked like a German Shepherd. Yeah, you can't fool me. I know a goddamn German Shepherd when I see one. But yeah. Okay, dire wolf. We'll go with that. He looks like a dire shepherd. That's what the fuck he looks like. But I guess Lady Stark thinking like, okay, so who is this nigga and why is he trying to kill my son? What the fuck are you talking about? He done set up diversions and everything. Dude talking about you ain't supposed to be here, but nobody was supposed to be here. I'm doing the kid a justice. Like, you want him all crippled and shit? Like, no, let me just kill him and be on my way. And then she goes and does her CSI shit. So an attempt on her life and her son's life made her leave out that room. Do some CSI, see some of those famous Lannister hairs, those little strings, and boom, off to the races. Let's assemble the team. The Lannisters ain't shit. So she takes it upon herself to go to King's Landing and let Ned know. And here we go with Ned Stark. And that situation at King's Landing between Arya, Sansa, Joffrey, and the poor butcher's boy. God, that kid. We learned from these scenes, Joffrey is a complete piece of shit. He's a poser to the highest degree. Comes on all gentlemanly to Sansa and, you know, he's like, oh, I'm your protector, milady, you're my... You know, he's doing the extras. And you see it and you're like, I don't like this kid. But he still hasn't really done anything we don't like. Sure, he talks spicy to Tyrion, but Tyrion put him right in his place with heavy right slaps. But the Hound warned Tyrion, and that's a warning to be looked out for later on. He says, hey, he ain't gonna be prince forever. He'll be a king. Now, in Tyrion's defense, he thinks slapping up a child, hey, he won't be a king for a long time. Maybe he'll be a man. We'll share some drinks. We'll laugh about this situation later. There's no way Joffrey would be king that fast. So I'm gonna slap the shit out of him, make sure he does what he's told. So we know something else about Tyrion too, but we'll talk about Tyrion later. Right now it's about the nastiness of Joffrey and Ned and that whole situation at King's Landing. So then we got him posing, pretending to be such a gentleman. We know we don't like that kid, but like I said, he hasn't done much for us to hate him. He hasn't. He's a prince. He's a little asshole. But we don't hate him. We just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. He's a kid pretending to be more than what he is. Well, imagine what I would be fucking 10 at 11 and I'm a prince and I run shit. What I say goes. You'd be a little entitled to. So I kind of gave him a pass for that, right? He's trying to woo this little tall redhead. So let him have at it. Goes down, see Arya and the Butcher Boy just playing swords like Arya would do. Arya loves some combat. Joffrey wants to get in on it, but then here he goes trying to do too much in front of Sansa. Sansa created this whole thing. Joffrey comes down, threatens the poor Butcher Boy like, you're a piece of shit, don't you pretend. You know, some regular bullying. And the Butcher Boy held himself at the highest respect. He was like, no, he was just playing. Like, come on, your lord. I'm your prince. I was like, oh, okay. This is when we hate Joffrey. Now he wants to inflict pain on the Butcher's Boy. He was smirking like he got off on that, right? So we see who really Joffrey is. And Arya, being Arya, gets involved, attacks him. And then Joffrey tried to kill Sansa's sister. Sansa screaming, you're ruining everything. So then in one swoop, by Sansa screaming, you're ruining everything, to her sister who was dodging getting murdered. Like, what type of sister is this? What older sister would not hop in while your boyfriend is running around trying to kill my little sister? Like, am I the only one who saw that? Like, Sansa, get in there. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Arya dodging them shits like a G. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is really trying to murder her. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Talking about she ruining everything. Bitch, your sister's about to die. Then she falls, and it looked like Joffrey is about to get the poking. Here comes the wolf. Coming to save lives again. Dire wolves for the win again. This episode, well, I don't even know what it was called, but it should be the fucking, it should be called the Dire Wolf. It's Mighty Morphin Wolfing time or something. Something with some wolves. They did not get the credit they should. The Dire Wolves won this episode. So hers come through, chews up Joffrey's arm, and Arya knows what time it is. It's time to leave. Arya wanted to stab shot Joffrey. I kind of wanted her to. Sansa screaming, crying, whatever. Okay, it's emotional. I'll let that pass. But I won't forget that you was mad at your sister for dodging murder, and she did nothing wrong. Nobody out there did nothing wrong except for Joffrey. So we see what type of time Sansa's on. And of course, this leads to but Arya's smart. She might be little, but she ain't no fucking dummy. She sent her dog away knowing that if they get their hands on him, that's at least a dead dog. She'll take the consequences as they come, but the wolf gotta go. So here we are at court. We see the lies being told. Arya is with the shit. Ned is like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what's going on? Ain't no way you finna punish my daughter, bro. I don't give a fuck about no hand of the king or nothing. So Ned is family first over anything. Over his title, over everything. Ned is pissed. And Ned sees that Cersei wants some type of blood. Right? They call Sansa out here. And just in that form, Sansa, her only achievement is to marry Joffrey and be the queen one day. That's what she cares about. She could give a damn about her family. So we see what type of time Sansa on. And I don't like Sansa. I don't like her. She didn't come up. She didn't try to save her sister's life then. And she damn sure ain't sticking up for her sister now. So it looks like that. I don't know. That looks like a broken relationship right there. Arya was already not feeling her. But to do what she just did and snitch on her homeboy and now she's want a dog dead. She wants a direwolf dead. So they couldn't get the punishment. Robb was in a fucked up situation. The king had to listen to both sides. Here's my annoying wife. Here's my homie who I know kids probably had nothing to do with shit, but Joffrey's a piece of shit and I know it, but he's my son, so I gotta at least pretend. He's like, okay, well, you got bit, fucking dog ran away. It is what it is. We're done here. Like, kids are gonna fight, kids are gonna get hurt. And then he treats the shit out of Joffrey like, you let a little girl disarm you, huh? Oh, we ain't gonna talk about that. But then, so then after all that, Cersei is not satisfied. And we see the real Cersei. She's like, well, if we can't kill your daughter, we can't kill the dog, the dire wolf that killed that one. Sansa's got a wolf. And immediately I thought, it wasn't to hurt Sansa. She knows that those dire wolves are protective. And that if she needs to attack Sansa or kidnap her or something, that wolf would be a problem. And they supposedly only get bigger. So Cersei is very calculated. Everybody might be looking to be like, oh, she's just being petty. No. She needed to get that fucking wolf out the mix. The two dire wolves is too many in King's Landing. Cersei knew what she was doing. She was taking away the only form of protection that Sansa had because she got plans for Sansa. And I bet a lot of people missed that. But if you think about it, that's exactly what that move was. It wasn't just to be a bitch. Cersei's way too evil and smart to just be petty, at least without a purpose. Everything Cersei does is for a reason. Hate her or love her, she's fucking calculated. So, death of the first direwolf. But justly deserved on Sansa's part. We hate to see a wolf go down. But Sansa should have stood up for her sister and told the truth. She should have kept it a buck. But we see where her loyalties lie, and we'll see what goes from there. Now, Cersei. Not only is Cersei calculated, but she's an excellent liar. Her and Jaime's discussing how Bran shouldn't be waking up. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with this kid? Cersei pays a visit and tells a compelling story about her firstborn, where we all start feeling bad for her. And then with that same face, as she shares mother to mother about the possibility of losing a son, she lies right to Lady Stark's face and says, "I've been praying every night for your son's recovery." I'm like, that's a cold woman. Not only has she not said one prayer for your son, she did the exact opposite. She prayed every night that he would just stop breathing. That's what she prayed for. Every goddamn night. You know what I'm saying? And then, well, if the gods ain't gonna help me, and I've been down here this long, god damn it, I'm finna send somebody to do it my damn self. Cersei's cold. Cold. But I believe the story about her son is why she's so cold. Her firstborn of the king is probably proud. This is probably when he loved her or pretended to. This is probably at the height of their happiness, them two together. And that's a queen's ultimate goal, is to produce an heir. And then hers die. So that means she had to be subject to ridicule. She was probably blamed. You know, this is the medieval times. It had to be the mama's fault. You know what I'm saying? It couldn't have been nothing but nothing else. It had to be the mother's fault. So she had to have the shame of not being able to keep the son alive. And it definitely made tension between Robert and her. Because just like any real relationship, like if any couple was to lose a kid, it's like hard, you know. There's a lot of times they find it hard to stay together because they might just keep looking at each other and just being sad, you know, unable to grieve together properly, and might have to be forced to, you know, a lot of things break up after something like that. But then, you know, king, queen, not quite as easy. So I think that's where, when Cersei lost her firstborn, that's when Cersei was born. That's when her, I don't give a fuck about nothing and nobody but my family, Lannister family. Everybody else, fuck them. I think that's where that came from. And her coldness, because anybody that could lose a kid and keep on kicking and doing what you gotta do, you hurt her as much as you could. You took her firstborn away. Now it's up for everybody. Like, whatever. And this one, the song, and then to wrap it up, we got the Jaime and Jon Snow interaction and the Tyrion and Jon Snow interaction. We learned that Jaime is just a shit starter. Like, he's real. You know, he came up to Jon like, "Oh, you used that sword before? No. Oh, you swung it at a human, at a person. You cut? You draw blood? No. And you about to sign your life away to the wall?" It was almost though, yeah, he was being an asshole, but he was judging him for his choice to do that, and almost looking at him as a quitter. Like, those who go to the wall, who voluntarily do it, can't cut it in the real life. Can't take the pressure here, so you're gonna run away to the wall. And I think that's what the purpose of Jaime's conversation was. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You ain't gonna be able to stick it through, be here, make man decisions, do real shit. You're gonna run off to the wall for whatever reason. And here comes Tyrion. Well, not so much cold of a response to the wall, but just letting him know, like, you really think it's goblins, snorks, and ghouls and all this? Like, you smarter than that. And then he shows two people who got caught for rape had an option: lose your dick or go to the wall. That's easy for me. I know I would never be in that situation, but at any point in time, if I took a loaf of bread and they said, "Hey, it's your dick or the wall," I'm be like, "Well, I guess I'm going to the wall." You definitely ain't taking that. And the fact that the wall is equal to something like that, to where you just like, just because I didn't want to lose my dick, that probably is not a place where people want to go. And they just recruiting scum. And Tyrion is pointing out to him like, "These are your brothers?" And that's the one that really put pause into Jon. But I like their relationship. It's a respect thing. Jon may not like how Tyrion talks to him, but he respects it. And he knows his value in that. And then Tyrion drops some, you know what I'm saying, some powerful quotes talking about, hey, every sword needs a whetstone, just like my brain needs a fucking book. This is how I sharpen my weapon. I'm a dwarf. If I would have been born a peasant, I'm dead. But I was born to a royal family. And I have to contribute. I can't do it on the battlefield, but I could do it up here. And that's where I personally fell in love with Tyrion. I'm like that. Oh, he's my favorite. Like episode 2, I know who my favorite is. Ned, yes, love Ned. Robert Baratheon, love Robert Baratheon. Jon Snow, he's cool. The interaction between him and Arya was real nice. Gave her first sword, the needle. That's where the needle is born. She's through the roof. We see that, and actually, that's the only sibling, quote unquote, that Arya really likes. We've never seen her with Rob or any of the other ones. Like, we've never seen her really embrace anybody, but it's that Jon Snow guy. Everybody loves Jon Snow. Rob was ready to cry when he went to the wall. Everybody but that Lady Stark. Even Ned was ready to cry when he went off to the wall. He was like, when we meet up, we'll talk about your mom. Niggas love them some Jon Snow. And I'd like to know why. I mean, yeah, he's a good dude so far. I mean, he ain't really did shit. He passed out some pups. He talks real, respectful. Whatever. We just hanging out. But boy, do they love Jon Snow. And, yeah, but that Tyrion, hands down, that's my favorite character. A person who accepts their flaws, know what the world sees them, knows their contribution, and is like, I tell you what, I'm going to weaponize my shit. I'm going to get the one weapon I got, and I'm going to fucking train it. And that's just all respect. But the storyline is shaping up very well. Because when Lady Stark gets down there to tell Ned that they tried to kill Bran and there was an attempt on his life, they pushed him, they threw him from a window. Then when they didn't do that, they paid somebody to finish him off. So we know there's beef there. Now Ned already got beef with Rob. So all things are pointing to Lannisters as the evil, or as the evil family. So it's looking, and then you got Varys and them and Daenerys out there with an army. So we still got to see how that thing develops. But right now, yeah, it's looking like war's coming. So we're just trying to see who's taking sides, and I guess we're just waiting to see. The most exciting thing is what's going to happen with that first interaction between Lady and Ned, and what is Ned going to do? That's his homeboy, and that's his homeboy's wife. And it's already beef with these families now. So it's getting real good. So I give it a 10 out of 10 for sure. Great episode. Like I said, who won this episode? The fucking Direwolves. They may have not done a lot of acting, but they did a lot of killing and saving. So they get it from me. But yeah, man, get them comments, man. Join the Discord. It's right there in the description, man. But as always, protect your health, yourself, your wealth. Your boy Rails out of here, man. Peace.